Welcome, y'all. Welcome back to another episode of the Southern Comfort Podcast. I'm your boy, Big Rich.
Kevin Harris.
As you know, this is a podcast, a political podcast that's dedicated to what's real going on in the political industry, given through a perspective of two brothers from the South. I'm from Atlanta, Georgia.
Birmingham, Alabama. But I was born here.
We was born in Atlanta.
Born in Atlanta.
But we are both, products of historically Black colleges. I graduated from Morehouse. Kevin.
Howard University.
We rep the gear. We rock the gear. We love our institutions. We love HBCUs. And Kevin and I are someone who's worked on political campaigns from, Main Street to
to dirt roads.
To the White House. You name it, we've done it, over 100 campaigns. And we just want to give you something, from our perspective, what we're seeing, what we know, shed some light on what it is on the back scene of campaigns. And, we're glad to be here for another episode.
Right? In person.
The
remote is cool. I like it, but this is better.
Right.
This is best.
And it allows us to do things like this, right?
Right.
Like we rock stuff.
Oh boy.
I got on the special hat. I'm gonna find the name of the company. I think it's like YKYT LLC. But I got you on, my brother.
That is really cool. Thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
And I need more stuff because I was just on campus and I was tripping about just how expensive. And I don't know if Morehouse store is that way, but I've got 2 shirts. This is one of them. I got 2 shirts and 2 hats. And it was like $250.
Hey.
And I'm like,
what's that, tuition?
I might as well.
Man.
Might as well. But yeah, man, like this shirt, and it's just a nice little, middle-aged golf
Well, it's sponsored
kind of shirt
by Team Jordan, which I think is dope.
Yeah, but
you would hope and think Jordan be like, you know what? Let me just do all Black colleges.
They should. I don't know why that's not on the table. Like and it would be a huge, I think, cool for them.
Yeah. Just
from a business standpoint too. Right. You should just do all the HBCUs.
You're the ones who buy the stuff.
We are the ones that buy the stuff, and think about that just as a brand tied to one person to be like, I got all the HBCUs. So like he should do it,
bruh.
He should do it.
Hit us up, man. We got you. We got the ideas for you.
Yes.
I want y'all to look at this hat, right? It's like it's dope. So it's great for the summer. Got the logo on the side with the, we're Maroon Tigers. Y'all are the Bisons.
Yep.
Only Bisons in DC are the ones at the grill. But no, man, it's a Black company. Got to support them.
Yeah.
We don't even own, I know, and it might be the same with you guys, our bookstore, which sells all the merch.
Yeah.
We don't own any of that, the rights to that, right? I think we get a percentage of the sales, but it's something, and I always push, like a lot of the stuff that I wear, except for this is something I've had from the bookstore for a minute. Mm-hmm. But like the stuff I buy now is made by, Black companies.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. Like,
and honestly, that's where you get the most stuff.
Right.
The
better stuff.
Yeah. The better stuff.
It's culturally,
And they target you. I see the ads all the time.
All the time.
On IG and Facebook. And like,
that's how I got these.
That's the dopest stuff as well. And so, but no, I'm not sure what that relationship is like with the bookstore. I just hope that the kids are getting some kind of a discount. Then I was trying to remember back when I was an undergrad, and I don't think I really bought gear out of the store too. So I feel like it was probably expensive then, but there should be some kind of alumni. I mean, something. I'm sure there's a reason why, but I mean, $250, bro. Like I felt like I was making a tuition. 2 shirts, 2 hats. This is one of the hats.
2 shirts.
This is one of the shirts. Bro. This shirt is $80,
bro. So I wear.
This is an $80 shirt. Well, why?
Okay, so I wear a lot of polo.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking, there's some shirts that are like $120.
Right.
I mean, Polo just rolled out that joint venture with Morehouse and Spellman.
Right.
On like, the Martha's Vineyard stuff, which is bomb. But it's just expensive.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's expensive.
Yeah. And I know that, because we, I know some of our HBCU folks are going to roll their eyes when I say this, but we did go to the more elite as we like to think of ourselves and how we are framed. Because you what you call Morehouse on one of the other used to call Morehouse the Harvard of the South, and we call Howard the Black Harvard. But I think everybody just assumed everybody that went there and came out of there that like we making all this money. So I guess maybe that's why they think it's okay to charge us $120 for a shirt. But Jesus.
Well, it's funny because a few episodes back, we talked about the declining rate of people applying to HBCUs. And now it's up, right?
Yeah.
Big time.
Yeah. All across the board. I think basically everybody is seeing a surge in enrollment. I'm hoping that, especially at Howard, that the male to female ratio gets better, because right now the sisters are kicking our butt. But it's a very encouraging thing to see, and quite frankly, I've never seen a study on this, but it's curious to me how much the HBCU enrollment coincides with the political environment.
Yeah.
Right. And where, I felt like this happened the first time under Trump too. It's happening again. And, we talked about here on the show before. I'm gonna go back to grad school again. And yeah, I really want to do a HBCU.
Listen, I've said this before. I think good things, if you know how to play your cards right, good things come out of this situation with Trump being at the helm. And again, this is one of them, right?
Yeah.
They're realizing that certain colleges aren't going to stand up for you and your rights. They're going to cave to Trump and his pursuit to dismantle DEI, right? Well, you don't have to worry about that at an HBCU, right? And if we kept our HBCUs funded, if we all supported them, if we all donated back to them, right? We could, build some true power, political power, and corporate power.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
We're seeing what's going on with Target.
Yeah.
We see just what happens when you collectively decide to shut them down.
Yeah. So, and for me, it makes me go back to, because one of the critiques on HBCUs from some folks is it don't prepare you for the real world, which is crazy. It's the complete opposite. I think part of the reason so many of us are continuing to thrive in this political climate is because we were prepared. We were prepared, and we were trained for it, and we just know just right away, a lot of the stuff, like you said, the DEI stuff and a lot of that foolishness they throw at us, we know, you're trained that that's not true. You know who you are, you know your history, and you know the contribution that you can make in the world. So in many ways, we chilling and thriving, and you see that on the campuses. You see kids are going there, man, and it's a great thing.
Which is, I think right now they're back in new student orientation. Shout out to our engineer and the owner of this studio, the Spark Q Social Studio, Dre. He said they just dropped his son off last week.
At where? That was some lobbying on both sides, and I won this one.
Much lobbying. I truly lobbied.
Oh, okay, all right.
Done it the more. You know what you say, Dre? Listen, had I truly done the lobbying the right way that was supposed to be, we would shut it down. I would have had alumni place calls to them, and say, hey, there's only one real true decision. But I'm market. What's this, August 10th?
Yeah.
2025. You may see this 2 weeks later. I guarantee you in 2 years, he may be talking about, hey, my man trying to transfer.
No, he not.
He trying to transfer.
No, that ain't going to happen.
Come on.
That ain't going to happen. I should bet you on that.
Hey, tell him, you tired of your colleges being all up in the dorms, all up in your classes? Come to Morehouse, baby. Come on.
I will say this though, because I know we got to get to the topic.
Yeah.
Because you and I could shoot the. I try not to curse on this show, but shoot the shit. All day. But I will say this though, and I always have said this though. One thing that nobody can really mess with Morehouse about is the graduation. It's something. It's There's not another the only other HBCU graduation I think that could be similar is a Spelman one. But for a Black man, there is no graduation ceremony. There is nowhere else in the world that you can go but Morehouse and complete your degree and get that kind of an experience. It's unique. It's in a class of its own, and nobody can touch it.
It's the same every year. Same spot.
Yeah.
On the campus.
Rain or shine, right? Rain or shine.
Right.
Yep.
Like outdoors, it don't matter. You sit there and rain dropping and you are, and that's even more gratifying to graduate and walk in the rain.
Yep.
Because it's also the same with our new student orientation. The same way you came in, same way you're going out. Right? On the yard, on the campus. And it is, I'm getting like.
See, it never leaves. It never leaves. Yep.
Yeah. But
all right, one last random question. Who was your commencement speaker?
Skip. Henry Louis Gates.
Wow. Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, I ain't graduated on time, so I missed mine.
Well, I caught some of his speech because I was knocked out. I told buddy next to me, I was like, bro, I don't know you, but I need to take a nap. And I just laid my head down, bro, and was gone. And he just joked me up and told us to get ready to go. I was like, let's go.
Let's go. Now, yours is Morehouse. You guys only do once a year, right?
Once a year.
Okay, so Howard is...
We used to hold like December graduations. They stopped.
Howard is the same way, once a year. And the only class I ever failed in life was my senior year at Howard. I failed it by like literally 1 point. Principles of reasoning, which I can't say I ain't used that since. I do a lot of that actually nowadays. Not well enough, apparently.
Yeah,
well, I tried, but he was like, nah. So I had to go to summer school, and I had to do one class in summer school to complete my degree. And you can't march though until everything is completed. So that was 2006. So 2007 would have been the year I can march. And that year it was Oprah. And, but by that point I was in Iowa on the Obama campaign and I couldn't get off, nor did I have money to go back to Howard to actually march. But at least several years later, I think Obama's last year, I want to say it was his last year in office, he gave a commencement address at Howard and I got to go be one of his guests. So that was nice at least. But no, I didn't even get to actually graduate. So if I do, I might do my second graduate degree, I might do it from Howard so my mama can finally actually see me walk across the stage at Howard. But
well, we had spent, I mean, again, we could do a whole episode about
just that. Yeah,
we probably will.
Oh yeah.
But I kind of want to get into sort of where we are right now and looking at the next group of elections, 2026. I know we'll have Virginia and New Jersey statewide elections because they're off years, and we'll have those in November along with a lot of your municipal local races, mayors, county commissioners, city council, those things. But right now, the game plan for 2026, kind of how to win before the race begins, right? It's something we kind of talked about and advocate. And we're about 17 months out before 2026 midterms, which is of course in November. But you have primary elections. And right now, I think we're kind of, 12, if not less than that. So I know Georgia's in May.
Yeah.
I think Tennessee, South Carolina is usually May or April.
Yeah, like May, August.
Yeah.
It's in some states are late, like September, but that's rare.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think Massachusetts, they do theirs and it's like September. Yeah. And they got to go right into the crazy.
Yeah.
But in this aspect, elections aren't won on election day. They're won far before that, right? Like if you are scrambling 30 days out, that's a problem. And so if you're thinking about running for office or even just trying to get in the game right now, you're not ready. You're already behind. And so I kind of want to talk about what candidates should be doing right now, or if you're looking to run, what you should be thinking about. Sort of kind of lay like a campaign 101 blueprint for folks out there. Again, I always reference, what's that show?
Grey's Anatomy. Yeah.
How they keep saying this is a teaching hospital. This is a teaching podcast.
Yeah, you're going to make me go watch Grey's Anatomy. I've never seen it. I'm an ER guy.
Yeah. Well, it's cool. It's
right. Yeah.
Sometimes the storyline, you be like, man, everybody problems would be okay if they didn't have the main character whose name is Grey. If she wasn't in it, everybody be fine. It wouldn't be having all these problems. She created the problem.
Okay.
But no, this is a teaching hospital. Right?
That's right.
I mean, this is a teaching podcast. And so a lot of people who watch, a lot of our viewers, we kind of try to break down real tactics, strategy, terminology on what's going on behind the campaign, so that you understand like there's a whole nother underworld behind the campaign. It's just not the candidate and getting the vote out, right? Or the phone banking and the door knocking, but there's still strategy behind it. There's still a whole operation that has to create those entities. And so kind of want to look at it, and I got some notes right here. We're also going to look at the national landscape. 33 Senate seats are up for grabs in 2026. 39 governor races are going to be up. And then there's every congressional House seat that's up.
Yep.
And then once again, I think the South is kind of going to be ground zero for some of the biggest battles you see. We previously talked about the North Carolina Senate race. Tom Tillis is no longer running for re-election. You have the current governor, Roy Cooper, stepping up to the plate. And then even here, you have Jon Ossoff, who's running for re-election. So here in Georgia, for those who don't know, we are in Georgia. But, I kind of want to, start with the basics.
Well, to that point, starting with the basics, one thing also to your point about this being a teaching podcast, we should say one basic thing that we shouldn't take for granted that people might not realize. So House of Representatives, 435 members, they are up for election every 2 years.
Right.
So every even year, they have to run for re-election. They do not have term limits. Right. They can serve as long as they keep winning. In the Senate, you have, which is called like the upper chamber, you have 100 members. They serve 6-year terms. So every 6 years they are up, and each state has 2 senators. And the 2 senators are, unless there's some sort of an anomaly like a special election or something like that, both of those senators are usually never up at the same time. And then governors, with rare exception, are not term limited. They serve 4-year terms, and then they have to run for re-election. The closest a governor might have to a term limit, it might be a situation where they can't do more than 2 consecutive terms at a time. So they could, be governor for 8 years, win twice, be there 8 years, then they have to sit one out, and then they might have to come back again, which might happen in Maryland if Larry Hogan decides to hop back in and run against Westmore.
Now, I'm trying to think. Roy Barnes was the governor here. Did he serve 2 terms? No, I think he served 1 term, lost, and then tried to run again.
Yeah,
and lost again.
Yeah. So that's typically how the elections work. And then most of the governor's races are on even years, but Virginia and New Jersey are 2 examples where they do theirs on odd years.
Right after a presidential.
Right after a presidential, yep.
So, before we talk about anything, campaign 101, you have to build the machine, right?
Yep.
And you really want to start with the foundation of your team and what should be first priority. Typically and there is either a GC or a campaign manager. Your GC is someone who's going to help you kind of build out the apparatus, or it could be the campaign manager. And so I think that is really the first person you look at. And if we want to look at this, like your campaign manager is usually the CEO of the operation. Right? So
yeah.
Next, I think will be identifying a person to help you raise money, or a fundraising director. That's like your lifeline to resources, right? You can't do shit without money. Outside of that, I think you're looking at, some of the hires at the same level, political director, a comms director, and sort of like a finance director. Right? Like your political director is like the pathway to coalition building, endorsements. Your communication person is the voice to the public. They're going to help you identify your voice and how to get it out there. And then your finance director, fundraising, finance, two different things. Your fundraiser is going to help you find out how to get the path to raising your money. The finance person or the finance director is going to make sure that you're managing your money correctly, right? So the money you raise needs to be managed. We talked about this on a previous episode about the burn rate. They're trying to keep it, the cost at a lower level. They're trying to keep the burn rate. So when they talk about it, and these are several ways that your opponent or pundits can attack you when they find things to poke holes
in your finance report. Yeah,
in your finance report. And so they we are sports people here look at it like a basketball team, right?
Yeah, it's a basketball team, or the way I like to think about it too, which a lot of people don't really realize about our profession, but campaigns are like a startup.
Absolutely.
It's a startup. It's scrappy, right? You start out a lot of times without much, and you got to go out there and raise the money and raise the capital. And you got a end date in mind. You got a goal in mind for where you have to be, and you have to build a team to match that. And it's a startup kind of energy because you're on a schedule, you're on a timeline for when you have to get that done. And you have to raise resources. You have to conserve resources as well. You have to deploy them strategically. And you also have to deal with a competitive market and landscape, right? Everything that you're trying to do, every way that you're trying to position yourself, other people are in the race, just like another company would be in the race trying to get those same things. And so that's why, like, a lot of the work that we do and have done building and leading campaigns, a lot of that work is transferable to the private sector because a lot of it is the same the same skill sets. And for me, the biggest mistake that I see folks make is they don't really understand the money and the financial part. They want to serve. They got the heart for it and like everything else, but they underestimate that it kind of doesn't work unless you can raise the money. And people say, well, this is going to be a grassroots campaign. Sure. Okay.
Then run for school board.
Sure. But even then you still need money, right? You still got to be able to raise money. So that's always my first thing that I always say, to candidates, like, have you looked at how much it cost last time for somebody to win this seat or win this race? Do you realistically feel like you have a pathway to get there? And are you willing to do the work, right? And so sometimes you got people running for Congress and they should have been city council.
Well, I mean, depends on the city, right?
It depends on the city.
Right, because in Atlanta, you got to raise.
I mean, that's a 7-figure race.
Yes.
That's a 7-figure race in a city like Atlanta. Can you win with less than that? Sure. But you want to
gotta have name ID.
You got to have name ID, and you want to be able to put your best foot forward. And people think things like, well, I'll just stay active on social media, and Twitter don't win elections.
No.
Twitter, it don't. And there are people that'll fight us on that. But scientifically,
it's not a fight if it's
Twitter, those are not people. Those are not voters. That's not how this works.
Listen, and so one, I think you hit the nail on the head when you talk about it being a startup, right? And you have to scale up very fast.
Very fast.
Very fast. And you're going from zero to potentially millions of dollars in less than 12 months, 18 months. Even in some cases, we've seen candidates raise $1 million in 2 months, right?
Yeah, depending on the race, they raised that the first hour.
Right. And that's important because it also shows, what type of competitor you are going to be and the prowess that you have.
Yeah.
And it's important when you're building out your team, like the person you get to manage that CEO of that operation or that game plan needs to understand the dynamics of, handling egos or learning how to spend the money correctly, learning tricks and trades. And so you just can't get someone, who's done a few races. You got to get someone who can lead a team of women and men.
Yeah,
right.
And build build that team and build a culture, right? That is reflective of you and your values.
Say that again. Build a culture.
You got to build a culture that's reflective of your values, right? And one of the things, two of the campaigns that we were a part of that I think did that incredibly well, right? The Obama campaign did that really well in terms of the culture and the brand, and
because people are still singing about
it. Respect, empower, include. Right, that was our motto, and what helped to reinforce that is that we would get around the candidate, we would get around President Obama, and it was the same thing, right? He treated you the same way. Everybody knew you were a representation of him, and you had to show up and operate in the same way. And he reinforced that. And then also, I thought the Hillary campaign had a very good culture. I've often talked about how that was one of the best campaigns that I ever was a part of, despite the outcome. But then, you and I also have done other races where, we won't say names, but we've done races before where the candidate did not necessarily respect the values, but the staff still had a lot of loyalty to each other and to the manager of the campaign. You know what I mean? At a certain point, we was like, if it wasn't for this person who's the manager, we quit this. But and so you got to see that, and I always thought about that too for the younger folks that were with us on that campaign,
who are still around,
who were still around doing work. But I always thought about that and worried. I hated for some of them that aspect of it was their first experience, because here it is, you got this great culture, but then you work for this candidate that ain't even really reflecting that.
Yeah, but the culture outshined it, right? You think about think about us, the four of us, right? And how we operated, and just made it like a fun place to come work, right? Enjoyable, right? And so,
I think we saved it for them. I mean, they are, like you said, they all still in the game, so they didn't get turned off.
Exception for where's J. Rue?
She is a journalist.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Well, at this point, we might as well just say who we talking about. No, then. Richard Dam.
Nobody would know, because that was a nickname, right? That's her nickname. Nobody knows her, right? But well, first of all,
we know.
I'll say it.
We know who y'all know between the two of us who not to put on the stand. If you guilty and you did it, and you need them to get on the stand and kind of hold the line, Richard is not the one to call.
Unless you my wife or my child.
You just gonna point, be like, he did it. He did it. That's my boy.
I'm not going.
But he's guilty, y'all.
I'm not going to jail. Listen, my wife and my child. And it depends on what they did. I cover my wife regardless. My child, you fuck up, right?
Right.
I'm gonna help you out the best I can, but nah, bruh.
But yeah, she's still, she's a journalist now, but she's still covering still in the space.
She's hilarious. Other things back to it, other things you want to talk about, locking down key consultants, right?
Yeah.
So we talked about right now the Democratic Party apparatus, and even on the Republican side, they're using sort of like the same top, I would say 5 to 10 consultants, and a kind of merge the two fields.
Like 90% of the
polling, media research, and field. Well, not really field. But polling, media, and research are, some of your top areas, and even fundraising of consultants. And, everybody is scrambling to try to get those same people. But there are others out there that can do the work. And nobody is willing to take a risk. And I find it rather funny that of these top consultants, they really have losing record.
Well, and that's what the point I was about to make about a risk, right? Like, but some of these folks who continue to get hired and hired and hired, right? No matter how poorly they perform, or their records aren't analyzed at all, you don't think twice about hiring them. You don't think that's risky, even though they lose all the time. But this other person who might still be building their record, right? They're viewed as risky, and so that gets back to me to culture, right? So as a candidate, when it comes to your consultants, when it comes to who are your vendors going to be, right? Because think about it, you're going to get out there, you're going to raise a lot of money. A lot of other people are going to get paid off of the money that you raise, right? Is it important to you that your vendors be diverse, or that the values that those vendors espouse, because they're extensions of your campaign? Because like we said, it's all going to be on your finance report. Everybody's going to know. So do you want a team that looks like your district or the area, right, that you're running in? And though the candidate really sets the tone for that. And I'm just going to say this because it's true. So you get situations too sometimes where the candidate, and they should be called out for, but you get these situations sometimes where like the candidate wants to sort of opt out of that responsibility and say, oh, I'm going to let the staff handle that, and I'm going to let okay. So, but to anybody thinking about running, the consultants and stuff like that, that's a part of the culture. And I'm just going to, say it plain, right? Some of those folks are going to make a pretty decent amount of money, right, off of you. You should care. You should care. Who are these people that are going to get paid off of me, right? And do they really reflect me? Are they here for me and my values, or am I just another, another meeting for that day for them, right?
So, we pretty much start out with laying the foundation, is building out a good team, and your team can grow, right? Your team is going to grow. You don't want to spend money too fast, too quickly, but you want to bring on the first two people are fundraising and a campaign manager,
right? And not your cousin,
right?
Unless your cousin, is us,
and
we can help you,
right?
And we can help you.
And I don't know, I got a cousin who runs. She get on my damn nerves. Like, sorry, cuz I love you, but like, hell no. But I'm gonna be real about something. Fundraising is everything, right? You can have the best message in the world, but it does not mean anything if you cannot fund your operation.
That's right. No one will hear it. No one will hear it. And the biggest thing you're going to spend money on a campaign is your voter contact and your media, right? That's the stuff that actually introduces you to voters and explains who you are and what you're running for. That's what really puts you in contention, and it is expensive. So the thing you're going to do the most of on a campaign, which is why, I know you keep stressing that, but the thing you're going to do the most of on a campaign is raise money.
Right. And so when we talk about fundraising here, what are we talking about? Well, your total dollars raised, they're like your war chest. The number of individual donors you get, it's like your grassroots support. Your maxed out donors, is your high dollar base, right? Like you're only allotted to give so much to a candidate. And like the max could be, 3,300. If it's a federal election, I think some states 6,600. Each state has its own regulations and guidelines. You have in-state versus your out-of-state donors, right? And that's where your support comes from. And I'm gonna put a pin there on that in-state, out-of-state. I want to say something. And of course, again, there's your burn rate, which is how fast you're spending your money. The donor geography matters here, right? Like more than people realize. So if you're running for, let's use Georgia for an example, you're running for Senate in Georgia, most of your money is going to come from, and we've seen attack ads on Ossoff for this. He's being attacked because he has a lot of out-of-state California donors, right? And they're coming from California and New York. Of course, he's he's a Jewish elected U.S. rep, so he's getting money from a lot of people in California,
all over the place,
all over the place. And they're saying that's a problem because you're having more money come into your campaign than you have in-state donors.
Mm-hmm.
But if you really want to break it down, right, like in-state donors, they show how you have real support on the ground of where you're running. Out-of-state donors is good for total dollars. But again, it can be used against you.
Mm-hmm.
It becomes an optics problem where your opponents attack you on how you're funded.
Yep.
If you're funded by outsiders.
And who's funding you.
Yeah. And like your in-state donors, it also is a good indicator of what your ground game is going to look like.
What the
right?
enthusiasm
With
is.
enthusiasm.
Yeah.
Well, so when you say low dollar donors, anything $250 and under is considered a low dollar donation.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And there's a threshold where if you give someone $250 and above, right, your name goes on FEC list or like the list of who gave money to the campaign.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's just things to think about when you look at out of state money. People say it's evil. But again, you have to run your campaign, right? Right?
You have to run your campaign. And in the case of someone like Ossoff, it's such stupid criticism because yes, he is the senator from Georgia, but he is one of 100 people in the Senate who vote on things with national implications.
Mm-hmm.
So the notion that there wouldn't be someone in California or Wyoming or wherever else he's raising money from that might not care, that might also care who the senator from Georgia is just foolish. And both sides do it.
Yeah.
It's just standard practice. You get your money from where you can get your money from. So it's just noise, but to your point, it's something to think about because you will get criticized for it.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
You'll get criticized.
And a lot of this, so campaigns are broken up in the fundraising aspect, they're broken up into quarters, right? And when that first quarter report rolls out, you want to show a significant amount of money versus how much you've actually spent in that quarter.
That's right.
So if you raised $1 million and you spent 250,000 of that, that's going to be a problem. That's going to give you a high burn rate, as opposed to your opponent who raised $1 million and only spent $50,000.
Right. Right.
It shows. Again, they're going to report that in the paper. They're going to, you're going to get attacked on it, depending on how your opponent has a good comms team and how they spin it,
right,
or how they spin it in their favor about what we're doing to keep costs down but keep our exposure the same, right?
Yeah. And what's interesting though is somebody might come to you and say, well, Rich, I spent that $250, but what if I spent that $250 on my fundraising infrastructure, right? It take money to raise money, right? So that's interesting, right? Because that you may have needed to make that investment and you might have to take that short-term hit where people are going to say, you have a higher burn rate, but if you're making an investment for the future because of that burn rate, then that's a strategic decision that you might have to make, even if you criticized in the short term.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And then again, it could be an aspect of you decided to go deep into getting polling to know where you are on a benchmark, right? You decide to go a little heavier on digital ads to get your name out there because you have a lower name ID than your opponents, but you raise a significant amount of money.
Right.
So again, it's where you choose to pick and choose to play your cards. Right?
Yep. That's right.
I think moving on, I want to talk about the political infrastructure, right? Like, which is pretty much an inside game. And it's important to get a strong political director because this is part of your endorsement strategy. This is lining up elected officials, labor unions, advocacy groups, community leaders, even celebs, and having someone manage those relationships, get those meetings set up, find ways to get the candidate in the door is really important, right? It is, you're raising the money, but you're also playing like that inside game.
That's right.
In terms of party politics and coalition building.
Right.
And that is also creating the volunteer and foundation of sort of your voter engagement base, right?
Yeah.
Like you're utilizing those relationships to help advocate for you and spread your name even further where your money can't reach sometimes.
Right. And that infrastructure is important because one of the things I tell my clients all the time, especially first time clients, is that you might be running for a year or over a year, right? But everything you're doing up until, I would say, the last 4 to 6 weeks out from the election, everything you're doing during that period is just building the infrastructure so that when voters are actually paying attention and making decisions about who they're going to vote for, you have the resources and the infrastructure in place to actually turn them out to vote.
Yeah.
And for most voters, they don't really make up their minds until, I would say, that zone starts maybe 4 to 6 weeks out from election day, when people kind of start to really tune in. Leading up to that, they're just hearing little bits and pieces about stuff, but they don't really start paying attention to that last 4 to 6 weeks. And so during that critical moment of time, that's when you want to make sure, have we raised the money that we needed to raise? Did we put the field staff in place and the infrastructure in place? Has your political director been working and getting all these meetings? Because by that point, right, you should have locked down those endorsements that can now help you during this critical period. And, do you have that pipeline of low dollar donors to keep giving the campaign gas so that you can keep your ads and everything going during this period?
And it's funny, what I tell people, everything you do is leading up towards election day.
That's right.
Like,
That's
everything,
right. Everything.
Right? It is all about getting out the vote.
Yes.
And so, starting early is important because you want to lay that foundation that makes it easier at the closer you get to that 6-week, 8-week mark before election.
That's right.
And the countdown begins.
And you want to be able to test some things out, right? You don't want to find out that there are parts of your operation that don't work well during that last 4 to 6 weeks. Ideally, that's part of that planning and that infrastructure building that you've been doing, throughout that year and a half that you've been running, all the way down to even stuff like the stump speech, right? I put that under infrastructure. Some people can't talk about themselves, right? Some people, really good people, really good community advocates, but switching that gear to going from like behind the scenes to being in front as like the candidate. For some people, that can be like a challenge, right?
Yeah.
All of that stuff, all those kinks, right? All of that stuff you got to kind of work out, ideally before you get to that window when voters are really sizing you up.
Yeah.
And so that's what it is, right? It's a year and a half of a lot of hard work for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks.
Right.
That's it. Startup.
It's a startup. And, I think I want to put a pin after we, kind of segment this out here, because we're going to build this episode out in stages.
Sure.
Right now, you're laying the foundation, the money, and really trying to sew up and lay down your political flags wherever your regions are. You want to break down your district, if it's statewide, if it's a city council, if it's a congressional district. You want to put flags in certain parts that are strongholds for you. And so, I think the political game is where we're going to end it, getting those endorsements, but also, playing your party politics right.
Yeah, boy.
People don't realize that there are party politics when it comes to your state party or even your local county party, or right, like, you have to walk that fine line. Those people feel like they are important too, right? And so
and that they should be able to pick the people who run and who don't. And then you might not be that person. So,
and when you think about your state party apparatuses, it is the county chair or the committee members, right?
Yeah.
Like, you think about your volunteer base, it's the people you get to knock on doors. Those people are coming out of the entrenched party. You're going to have some friends and family, but people who are part of the county party or the state party, they're going to get the message and they're looking to knock on doors. Your party donors are also part of that establishment. They have access to those established fundraising networks. At the same time, they're going to broadcast, oh, he's doing this phone bank and these things, or he's doing a tour, or she's doing a tour. They're going to these places. And so it's imperative that party infrastructure is like, it's like the Underground Railroad.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's going to set you to that freedom where you're trying to go.
Yeah.
And if you're not plugged in, it's an uphill battle.
Yeah.
That's something I had to explain to Christian when he ran. I'm like, you have to make these calls. You have to, because you're a newbie, you're a rookie, and they want to know that you know how to kiss the ring.
Yeah. Even if they're going to kind of blow you off, you still gotta, you gotta kind of do it.
And I think before we close out, the last thing that I want to talk about, like if you're running now, you need to start doing soft launches. You don't need to be doing big grandiose events, but you need to be doing small tours to coffee houses or community events or small town halls, discussions.
Yeah.
You know, you're not looking for a big crowd. No, you're not there yet, and you don't need it.
Yeah.
Right?
You should be listening right now, more than talking.
And then what this also does, it helps you identify who's showing up early for you.
Yep.
Because you want to cultivate those people. You want to take those people, those 5 to 6 people that came to your event, you're going to find 1 or 2 people that want to continue to do the work for you. And that grows. That helps you build out, but it also helps you realize we have strength here, we're weak here. This is where we go. This message worked here, right? But also, you were the one who kept this in my head. You want to get free press. You want to make sure you're available to those local papers, to those radio stations, right?
Yep.
Getting your name out early, and maybe even a small digital presence. But, you know, a soft launch strategy is going to be really important. You know, if let's say here in Georgia, if the campaign starts in May, right? If the campaign primary is in May, you want to hit the road at least 2 or 3 times between now and I would say November.
Yeah, and you know, and I know we'll talk more about this later, but even in the governor's race right now, I think the person doing the best job is Mayor Keisha. And she's leaning into an advantage. She's the most well-known, right, of all the declared candidates. So in terms of getting earned media, national media, people might say, well, why does she want national media? Because it helps to attract national donors. And just moving around the state, right? Like in her social media presence. And how do I know that she's been moving around the state? Not because I don't permanently live in Georgia, right? I saw it on social media. And she's going to places outside of Atlanta. She's not just sticking to what should be her base, right? And so she, I think in this early phase of the governor's race in Georgia, is doing the best job of the things you need to do early.
I agree. I don't disagree with you. Well, I think, you know, that wraps up our show for today. We're not going to give, I think we learned this from our last episode, right? Not everybody is going to have a mama moment. Not everybody's going to get that award.
Not every day.
Right.
Even Kobe, you know, it was some rough seasons.
Yes, this is true. But, you know,
so,
yes, this is true.
We didn't get the ring every time.
But we're going to continue this conversation on another episode. There's a lot to delve in. I definitely we got some new people in the governor race here in Georgia that we want to talk about.
Are they new?
They're not new. They're not new. But, you know, that is our show for today. Really appreciate you guys. Remember, subscribe, like. Maroon Bison is the YouTube channel. Maroon Bison is our handle on all the social medias. You know, spread the word. And great things are still to come. So we really appreciate you guys. Kevin, as always, sir, glad you're with us on this ride.
Absolutely.
Peace.
Peace, y'all.